It's a beautiful Monday and the beautiful music by Carlos Kiba. Don't mind the passers-by. Sote tuko njiani. Yes, so of course we have the amazing Dr. Wale with us here again on another Monday. Thank you so much for making the time for us.
Thank you so much for having me.
First of all, today we're talking about a very interesting subject, y'all. We're talking about drive, and when you talk about drive, there's so many things that come to mind, but we're not talking about how to drive. It's not a car. So we're talking about the drive that comes from within and how you can get that and get the maximum results out of that. So remember, you can tweet us using the hashtag #PowerBreakfast. You can tag us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Willie Saburu, and at Wale Akinyemi. That is on Twitter. I've also just posted a picture there, so in case you can't spell it, you can check my account and you can find it out. So first of all, Dr. Wale, what is drive?
All right. Yeah. What is drive? Drive is the motivation to get up and do what you want to do. A lot of people I've interacted with, it's not that they don't have great ideas. It's not that they don't have great things they want to do. It's about actually getting up to do it. And I understood, I discovered that a very talented person with no drive or little drive has little advantage over an averagely talented person with a lot of drive. So if we look at that, same thing, when you look at an organization, you have an organization with people who are super talented but no drive. They have no advantage over an organization with people who are averagely talented with a lot of drive. So it does appear that the most important thing in our success as individuals is not so much the talent we have, but the drive that we have.
But how come, because you said what wakes you up in the morning, what keeps you going, how come there's sometimes when you wake up this morning, you don't feel it, and then the next day you wake up, you're feeling it? So is that still drive, and how can we avoid that topsy-turvy sort of thing?
You know, I wake up some mornings and, like you said, I don't feel it, but when you trace back, I realized that my not feeling was triggered by a sequence of thoughts. So maybe I went to bed. That's why one of the things I do deliberately is that before I sleep at night, I take control of my thoughts. You see, it's got to be intentional for it to be exceptional. You know, life has to be intentional for the life to be exceptional. A lot of people are living based on market forces accidentally. You know, whatever comes to your mind. I control what I think about, especially before I sleep. Because when I am asleep, the subconscious takes your last thoughts and works on them through the night. Because your subconscious never sleeps. So that's how come you can wake up in the morning and you feel low. Now, think of it. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. How do you feel low when you have done nothing?
Right, yeah.
I mean, you have just woken up. You have nobody has annoyed you. Nobody has said anything back. Yet you feel low. That means it's a function of the thoughts that were processed in your subconscious through the night. So, and the way to deal with that is to make sure that your final thoughts before you sleep are the thoughts that will drive you when you wake up.
And you know, speaking about that, because you talked about controlling your mind, and why is it that then we see two different people, right? They are exposed to the same circumstances, but one person will go ahead and make it in life, the other person will, like you said, be very average? Is it that one lacks the drive, or they have the drive and don't know how to harness it?
And then that's why I said, from my research on this, and I have been researching and working with individuals on understanding human behavior for close to 30 years.
Right.
And so, and that's why I have come to this conclusion that the differentiating factor, all other things being equal, is drive. And that's why I've written a whole book on just called Drive, to push people, to help people understand how they can consciously ignite drive. And one theme that I talk about throughout is the fact that it has to be intentional if it's going to be exceptional.
Talking about Drive, the new book, you talk about something, and we're going to be looking at some quotes shortly. But you also talk about something very important that I think captured my attention. It's about a canvas.
Yes.
And you make reference to Picasso.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was having a training some time ago, and I showed a Picasso painting that he had painted, a painting of his mistress. And I asked people, I said, how much would you pay for this painting? And some people said, 2,000 shillings. Some people said 500 shillings. Yeah. And then I told them, I said, well, the true value of this painting, it was sold in 2010, I think it was, for $106 million. And $106 million for the same painting some people were calling 2,000 shillings. And I said, one of the things we need to understand about Drive is that not everybody is going to appreciate you.
Right.
All right? So some people are ready to pay 2,000 shillings for a $106 million painting. Not everybody will appreciate you. So one of the things that helps you to create Drive is understanding that not everybody is going to appreciate me. So don't get upset when they don't appreciate you.
Right.
Number two, never parade your gift in front of the people that don't appreciate you.
Right, and that's one of the quotes. You can have that up. Very interesting quote there that we have. We have the quote there. It says, never parade your gift in the presence of people who do not appreciate what you have. So you can. Yeah. Do we have it right? That's what we have up there. That's the right one.
Yes. Yes.
Right on.
Because look, you are parading a Picasso in front of people who don't appreciate Picasso. And you see, that's the thing. Let's look at music. Different genres of music. Classical music, hip-hop, electronic dance music, and all that. Now, every one of those genres of music have their superstars who have made millions and millions from their music. Okay? But you know why they succeed? They are parading their gift in the presence of people who appreciate their gift. Now, you may not like opera. You know, some have heard people say opera is funny music and all that. Now, the person who likes EDM, for instance, may not appreciate opera. So, if you're an EDM DJ, enthusiast and all that, you'll be a fool to try to parade your music in front of opera enthusiasts.
Right.
They won't appreciate it. And they are not appreciating it is not that you are not good. It's that every gift has its audience.
Right.
And people, there's a semblance of failure or rejection when you are not parading your gift in front of the people that appreciate what you have, your own audience. Pavarotti, Luciano Pavarotti, was an opera singer who amassed a net worth of nearly $300 million. Now, because he has his own audience, people who like what he does. You may, if you are a classical or opera enthusiast, you may think EDM is too doof doof doof, you know, like my son puts it. Or you may think hip-hop is too wild. But we all know Jay-Z has amassed millions and millions of dollars in his own brand. So the key is, if you're going to have Drive, number one, understand that no matter what people call you, in the eyes of some people, you are a Picasso.
Right.
And then make sure you find the people who appreciate your Picasso, you for your gift. And then the third thing is, you know, everybody, when you look at the Picasso, now if I was going to paint something and you were going to paint something and Picasso was going to paint something, we will all start with what? Canvas.
Right.
So at the beginning, the canvas is the same. It's the same value. So what determines the price of that painting is not the canvas. It is what is put on the canvas. So you and I and Picasso pay something, they pay 1,000 for yours, they offer 100 shillings for mine, and Picasso sells this for $100 million.
Right.
At the beginning, it's the canvas. So similarly, the canvas, every one of us has the same canvas. It's our mind. Remember that no baby has a point of view.
Right.
Point of view is something we grow up to based on exposure, experience and all that. So our key thing is to make sure we are painting the right thing on the canvas of our minds. Because that ultimately will determine our drive.
Right. Right, and also there's one that you also talk about. It's called Vacant Minds are the breeding grounds for mental cobwebs. That's another quote.
Yes.
From the drive. Talk about that. Mental cobwebs. Okay, there is one thing to have a cobweb anywhere, but not to have a mental cobweb. Tell us about what you mean by that.
When you build a house, it's a brand new house. Nobody has ever lived there before. And then you leave that house unattended to. A year, 2 years, or whatever. Spiders will find a very, very, very nice resting place there. So next time you get there, maybe after a couple of years, you're going to find spider webs. You're going to find also, you know. Now, that is what happens when you leave it vacant. Similarly, a lot of people have left their mind vacant. They're not putting new information in their mind. So the stereotypes of the past are the cobwebs of the present. So we have all these stereotypes and belief systems that we have had over time, and because we have not replaced it, we have not put something new, we now make decisions from the cobwebs there. So those cobwebs are now telling us what we can do and what we cannot do. So because you have failed before in something, when you want to embark on something again, the cobweb says, come on, you can't do that, you already failed here. And that steals the drive. So the cobwebs are the greatest thieves of drive. Yeah.
So how can you, when you say feel your mind, right? So where are we getting these resources from to feel our mind? What are we looking at?
You're gonna make sure you engage in profitable conversation, not gossip. Gossip does not add value to your mind.
Right.
Talking about problems without looking for solutions does not add value. It makes you depressed. Most people, if you look at it, most people are experts at talking about problems. In fact, some people, the cobwebs are so thick in their mind, and that's why I say in my book, you have to measure what I call web density. You know, because your web density will determine, is the cobweb having an undue advantage over the opportunity. You know, as long as that happens, you will not be able to move forward. Right. So I'm going to engage in profitable conversation. I'm going to make sure I am reading, constantly putting new things in my mind, because remember, what makes the place available for the mental cobwebs is vacancy. No activity. I'm going to keep putting new stuff in my mind. People always wonder, how come I write so many books, you know? It's because I cannot afford, Willis, for my mind to be stagnant.
Right.
You know, I have to keep thinking. A lot of people, and this may come as a surprise to you, a lot of people think accidentally. You know,
how do they think accidentally?
They're always living in reactionary mode.
Right.
That means something happens and then they think. But we need to have set aside times for thinking. You know, we need to evaluate and set time to think seriously about our lives, about what we want to do. But unfortunately, even culture may not appreciate that, because imagine if you came to my house and you ask my son Tom and say, oh, where's your dad? And you say, oh, well, you can't see him yet. Why? He's thinking. You get very offended. How can he be thinking and I'm here?
I'm here,
So we need to place a premium on thinking. You know, these are the things that dislodge the cobwebs in the mind. Because if we do not, you see, if we do not bring in new information that we can think about, we will continue to rotate old information around. And if that old information got me upset and that old information steals my drive, if I've not added any new thing, I will continually be depressed. This is why a lot of people are depressed.
Right.
Because their minds are locked up with negative things in the past. And they're locked in there because they have not allowed new information to aerate the mind.
And also, you know, speaking about the, you know, as the new information gets to get the mind, you have some people who, so I have this concept, I have this drive, I have this passion, and I have this dream, and so I walk around, maybe I'm sharing it to a few people, and there is something that you call the joy loop.
Yes.
Where so now, because I've shared it with enough people, I'm feeling good.
The joy loop is one of the greatest hindrances to drive.
Right.
Because the joy loop is when, and you know what, I am not pointing fingers at anybody, this used to be me.
Okay.
This used to be my story. The joy loop is, you have an idea. and you share that idea with people, and people are so wowed by your idea. Like, what? Now, the more you share it, and the more you wow people with your idea, then you now enter into that deception that you are actually making progress. So you become so happy about talking about your idea over and over and over that you enter into a state of deception. And Willis, I have seen people do that for years, 5 years, 10 years. You are talking about it and you have not done anything about it. You see, let me tell you, life is like when you think of a boat.
Okay.
When you have a boat and you throw down the anchor in Mombasa, for instance, now that anchor ensures that the waves will push the boat, you know, a few meters here, a few meters there, and all that. But you are guaranteed when you come back, you will find your boat
In Mombasa.
in Mombasa.
Right.
So the anchor is a very safe thing. But the boat was not made to stay in Mombasa. The boat was made to explore new lands. And so a lot of people are anchored to their past, anchored to their joy loop. All right? What we need to do, we need to exchange. I call it, in the second chapter of my book, I call it the great swap. We need to swap our anchors for our sails. Now, the anchor makes it safe, but no boat was designed to stay in the place of anchor. Stagnation is a disease that happens to people who are anchored to their past. And that past may be a successful past. Stagnation happens in organizations. You know, we cannot pride ourselves in being consistent if you are consistent in mediocrity. You cannot pride yourself in being consistent if you're consistent in what you've always done. You know, so it's time to swap the anchor for the sail. Otherwise, you will just stay in that joy loop and deceive yourself. And all those people that when you share that dream with, they're like, oh wow, you know, they're not your friends, oh. They're not your friends, because the friend will say, so what have you done about it? What are you doing about it? You know, but if they just get excited and all that, 5 years later, you still be anchored.
You should be in the same place.
Yep.
So it is. So you're saying sharing the dream is good for drive, but don't feed off that temporary elation that people get.
Yeah, you know, when a lady is pregnant, there is the demand of pregnancy. There's the joy. There's the joy of pregnancy. There's the concern of pregnancy. There's the demand of pregnancy. Now, every animal has its gestation period, you know, depending on. But even a dream has a gestation period, and the gestation period of the dream is determined by the dreamer. Now, what do I mean by that? That means how quickly do you understand the demands of the dream, the demands of the pregnancy. You know, if I want to shed a few kilos, like I want to shed a few kilos, there's a demand. Now, I can go around telling everybody that, you know what, I'm going to start this program, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to lose this amount, I'm going to wear this kind of clothes. You know what, that's called the mumu. You're just in the loop. You're just making yourself happy about what you are going to do.
Right.
Now, other mumus that listen to you are very, very happy about it.
Yes.
But the demand, and you see, one way to checkmate and give a sense of reality to that joy loop is when you understand the demand of the dream. When you understand the demand of the dream, then you may not be so happy again.
Right.
Because, wow, you realize I have to be in the gym, I have to do this, I have to do that. And, you know, any dream that does not bring any dream that does not cause you to alter some part of your lifestyle is not taking you anywhere. Because that means the dream is not putting pressure on you.
Right.
And let me tell you the good side of pressure. How to make pressure your ally is that you realize that anything that puts a demand on you for growth is good for you. Right. I remember I tried all sorts of things, you know, swim, walk, jump, skip, everything. And Taiwo, no, anyway, and I had all these things, and my wife would laugh at me and all that. Then my daughter said, "Why don't you try Zumba?" I said, "What's that?" But I hope I got it right. Zumba.
Zumba.
So what's right? Well, how does it work? So we went up, put on the TV, and began to play some music, and was taking me through a dance routine. Hey, whoa! 5 minutes into that thing, I said, "I'm no more doing it." She said, "Why?" I said, "I'm no more doing." You know what it did? The pressure, the pain, and that. You see, pressure shows you your true state. Pressure exposes your vulnerabilities. Pressure exposes where you are weak. All right? And you see, when you understand where you're weak, then you understand where you need to put in more energy.
Right.
That is where pressure becomes your ally. You know, don't fight it. Embrace it.
Right. Right. We have something also very interesting that you also talk about. It's called what we call, or you call, the Wale triangle.
Yes.
And we have a picture of that as well. You can walk us briefly through what is the Wale triangle.
Yeah, well, I named it after myself because people like Pythagoras named Pythagoras theorem after themselves, you know, Newton's law of motion.
Yes.
So I can also have Wale's triangle. Now, at the top is the known, then you have the obvious, and you have the comfortable. Now, most people make decisions within that context. We make our decisions within the context of what we already know.
Right.
What is comfortable and what is obvious, isn't it?
Right.
But the challenge is innovation never happens there. And for organizations, that becomes the industrial average level of thought. Let's look at the insurance industry, for instance. Insurance penetration in Kenya is, I think, 3% or so, thereabout.
Right.
And it has been that way for a long time. Why? It's inside the triangle. Industry average level of thought. Now, the person who is going to disrupt the insurance industry in Kenya is not inside that triangle. It's going to come from outside.
Right.
Now, the people inside look at the guys outside and they will laugh and say, "Ah, that's nonsense. That is illogical. It will not last. It's a laughing stock." But it's negative. They'll spread negative news about it. They say these people are rebellious. But at the same time, inside that, outside that triangle, innovation hubs are springing up. New thought is coming in.
Right.
People are thinking different. So you find out that the new innovation, and when you look at it, inside the triangle, there is a confined area. Outside the triangle, there is no confinement. So let's look at examples we can relate with. The banking sector in Kenya was inside the triangle for many years. Banks that were established, the bank was the king. All right? And the customer was the slave of the bank. So people were told to come and close their accounts in certain banks, isn't it? Then Equity Bank comes in from outside the triangle. Now, they're not confined with all the things that are happening inside. No. They're outside. And they define a new reality. And you find out that the people that were not banked were outside the triangle. They were more than the people that were banked inside. And so what happens? Equity created a new reality. They disrupted the industry as it was and created a new reality. Safaricom is another good example. You know, everything was inside the box. Safaricom went outside the box, outside the triangle, and looked for people who were not customers. You see, the challenge is inside the triangle, you are battling for the same customers. Outside the triangle, you are going for people who are not customers, and they are more. And that's one of the things I try to do with organizations in this country, to get them outside that triangle.
Right.
You know, when you get outside the triangle, you create new realities. It is what one author calls the blue ocean. You see, now, when you are inside the triangle, you are anchored. So, You're just moved by, you can't, the waves move you but cannot move you outside. Your innovation level inside the triangle will never exceed the length of your ankle.
All right, we could go on and on, very deep insights there. I guess also because I can see a lot of people even on Twitter asking how they can get a hold of the book we're talking about, which is Drive. So how can you direct them? How can they get a hold of the book?
Oh, very, very simple. Just go on Facebook and just type Dr. Wale Akinyemi resource page, and you have all the details, how to pay, and in fact, if you do that right now, you can get the book before the end of this show.
So it's an ebook.
It's an ebook,
right? So
that you can read it on the go anywhere you are. Yes.
All right. Final comments will be looking into that camera for somebody who's sitting there and asking themselves, okay, what do I do next? How do I harness my drive and move forward?
Number one, remember to somebody you are a Picasso. All right. So don't parade yourself. Number one, don't get upset when some people don't appreciate you. Remember, some people are ready to pay 2,000 shillings for a painting that was $106 million. So you are a Picasso to somebody. And then the next thing is to identify who appreciates your gift. And that's what I talk about in Drive. So look forward to interacting with you more as you read the book Drive.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. It's always an amazing, inspirational Monday to kickstart your day. Remember, you can follow him. It is at Wale Akinyemi across all platforms as well. Like it said, Wale Akinyemi resource page. You can get details about getting that book. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure. Remember to have that drive even as you kickstart the week. And also for those of you who are like me, the drive to eat. I'm kidding. Carlos Kiba is up next to give us some beautiful country music on behalf of Freddie Demoli. Enjoy.